Hello, my name is Steve Mayne and I am a Renaissance gamer. I play a little bit of everything, and everything I play with just a little bit of skill. And today I'm playing Hearthstone. This is a version of Hearthstone. Hearthstone, for those of you who don't know, is a game from Blizzard Interactive. It's a card game based in the World of Warcraft universe. And this is a section of the game called the Arena Mode. It's essentially a draft mode for the game. It costs either 150 in-game gold, which I have 185, so I can play that, or it's $1.99, which is horrifyingly easy to charge to your credit card, and so very, very simple. I am, as I said, you can get the in-game gold from completing quests or just winning matches, and you can win some in the arena, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to sit here, I'm going to do this, spend my 150 in-game gold. And how the arena works is it gives you a choice of 3 heroes. You pick one of those, and then it'll give you a choice of 3 cards until you have a full deck. I do not do very well with any of these classes. I would have preferred a hunter, but I think I haven't used Shaman in a while, so I'm going to use Thrall. His hero power is for 2 mana. He can summon a random totem. He's got 1 of 4 that he can get, and they each do different things. So let's see. These are my first 4 cards. I'm going to start showing you how I put my deck together. I'm going to try and make the video at least a half an hour, and then maybe divide the whole run up into multiple videos and see where that goes. And what I have here is I have an Alarmabot, which for 3 mana I can swap this out and get another card, which is okay if I have a lot of high-priced creatures. This is my first card. I don't know that I'm going to get that. This is the Cold Light Murloc Oracle. Gives me and my opponent 2 cards when it's played, which I'm not particularly enthusiastic about. And the last card, the Mana Addict. Whenever you cast a spell, this card gains 2 attack this turn. It's actually a pretty decent card. Shamans have a lot of spell cards they can cast, so we're going to grab her on the assumption that that'll show up again. Okay, so these are all Shaman cards. I can give all of my minions +3 attack. Stormforged Axe is 2 to get out. It's 2 damage. I can use it 3 times before it breaks. But it's overload of 1, and how overload functions is I cast the spell this round, but next round I won't be able to use however much mana the overload comes for. And then Lightning Bolt is a 1-cost card. It does 3 damage, also with an overload of 1. This is great if I have a lot of low-cost creatures. This is great. This is a decent card, but the 2 damage makes it kind of situational. I think Lightning Bolt is by and large my best choice, especially with the Mana Addict. Let's see, the Gnomish Inventor gives me card draw, which is nice. The Stone Tusk Boar is a 1/1 charge creature, or charge beast. Beast is important if you're playing hunters. They synergize really well with beasts. They have a lot of things that affect beast cards. And it has charge, so it can attack the turn it's summoned. And the Amani Berserker is enrage +3, which is good if I have a way to trigger that. And I don't really, with the Shaman, have a really consistent way of turning that on. So I think I'm going to take the Gnomish Engineer. Okay, so Direwolf Alpha, the minions on either side of it get +1 attack. The South Sea Deckhand is a 1-cost with charge as long as I have a weapon. And Hex turns a minion into a 0/1 frog with taunt. And I think I'm going to take that, because that can really get rid of some of my opponent's bigger stuff. Let's see, Earthshock is a silence, which is nice. It turns off all their special abilities and powers, but it also does a point of damage. The Bluegill Warrior is a 2/1 charge. It usually dies, but it'll tend to get in that 2 points of damage really fast. And then Forked Lightning, deal 2 damage to up to 2 random enemy minions, but then I can't use 2 mana on my next turn. I think I'm going to take Silence, because it's just a really powerful ability. Here's a weapon again. Spiteful Smith, when he gets damaged, my weapon gets a +2 to attack. If I could take both of these, that would be decent, but I only get one. And in this case, I'm going to take the Razorfin Hunter, who, when she comes into play, summons a 1/1 boulder. I'm going to... Actually, another Hex. I've got a Taunt guy, but he's only 2/2, and I don't find those particularly useful. The Worgen Infiltrator is a 2/1 Stealth, and Stealth means my opponent can't attack him until he does something, unless they use indirect damage. But I think another Hex is a good call here. Let's see, Boulder Fist Ogre is a good late game, just beater card. He doesn't have any special abilities, so stuff like Silence doesn't work on him. I can get another card draw, which could be useful. And the Dust Dustful is a Wind Fury, which means it gets to attack twice. And it has Overload 2, which means next round I don't get to use 2 mana. Its cost of 1 means I can put him out early, but I don't get to do anything on my second turn. And he's a 1/3. The problem with this is there's so much stuff that can get rid of a 1 health creature that if I can't beef him up right away, he's just going to die. So I think I'm going to take the Boulder Fist Ogre. Well, let's see, what do we got here? The Chillwind Yeti is a good solid card like the Ogre. It's just great for its cost. It's just a good beater minion. The Cobalt Geomancer, let's see, I've got 2 cards that do damage, and he will bump those by 1 point while he's on the board, which is not bad. And with the Mana Addict, that would actually synergize really nicely together. Ancestral Healing fully heals a minion and gives them Taunt, which is really great for stuff like the Ogre and the Chillwind Yeti. I think I'm going to take the Yeti. If I get another Ancestral Healing later on, I'll probably grab that. Let's see, Mana Tide Totem. At the end of my turn, I get to draw a card, which is really nice ability. It buffs my ability to go through my deck and get what I need. Lightning Storm again, deal 2 to 3 damage to all enemy minions. And Feral Spirit, which summons 2/3 Spirit Wolves with Taunt. It's got Overload 2, but that's still 2 creatures. And I think I'm going to grab it because it's both a spell for the Mana Addict and and creatures for anything I get that might have help that. The Scarlet Crusader is a 3-cost Divine Shield. Agent Squire is a 1-cost Divine Shield. The difference between them is the Argent Squire only has 1 attack. The Scarlet Crusader has 3. I can take Totemic Might and give, when I cast it, all the totems I have on the field get +2 health. But it's really hard to keep totems alive in this game. So I never have, I don't seem to have a lot of them on the board at once. And of the lot of these, I think I'll grab the Argent Squire, because if I can get her out really fast, she's a really annoying first round play. Let's see, Forked Lightning, which keeps coming back. I think the game really wants me to take one of these. The Darkscale Healer is a 5-cost that heals 2 to every friendly character when I put her in play. And then after that, she's just a Chillwind Yeti. She's the 4/5. She costs 1 more mana and heals everything. And then the Archmage is a 4/7 for 6, but he bumps the effectiveness of my spells. I think for the purpose of this, I'm going to grab Forked Lightning, because I seem to be going in that general direction. Let's see, we've got Frost Shock, 1 damage and freeze a character. Earth Shock again, which is a silence, which I'm really leaning towards. Silence is an incredibly powerful ability, especially in the arena. And the Fairy Dragon, which cannot be targeted by spells or hero powers, which means you have to use a battle cry effect or just attack it physically, which makes it really kind of annoying to get rid of. But I think I'm going to take this silence here. So we've got the Alarmabot again, which I'm kind of, I got the Boulder Fist Ogre is the only thing that would really work on. The Mind Control tech, which is if your opponent has 4 or more minions, take control of 1 at random, but they need 4 guys, and if they get to that point, I don't know that this is really going to be super helpful. The Ancient Watcher is a 2-cost 4/5, but he can't attack. But I have 2 silences. They'll do a point of damage, but if I can get him out early on and then silence him, that's actually pretty good. And then, you know, I've got the, if I can get the Ancestral Healing, if I get another one of those, I can throw that on him and give him Taunt. So actually, that's actually a pretty solid card here, if I can get something else to go with it. Let's see, we've got the Gurubashi Berserker. Every time it takes damage, its attack goes up by 3, and it starts with 7 health, so it's kind of hard to get rid of. The Archmage, which is Spell Power +1, again, I showed that, and the Bloodlust. How many? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got a lot of creatures here. And I've got a couple good, solid late-game beasts already. I think I'm going to take the Bloodlust. If I can get that out, that can do a lot really fast. Frost Warlord is 4/4, but he gets a +1 for every other minion I have, which is nice with Shamans, because I can throw out the totem every round. Frost Shock, 1 damage to an enemy and freeze it, which means next round it doesn't get to do anything. But I think I'm going to take the Lord of the Arena. He's a 6/5 taunt creature. Late game, he's just a real pain in the butt to get rid of. He's a great card to just throw down and watch your opponent wail on until they just throw themselves against. Venture Co. Mercenary is a 5-cost 7/6, which is really good, except every other minion I play after that costs 3 more. I've heard really good stuff about him, and I will admit that every time I see him go out on the other side of the field, I have to spend an inordinate amount of time getting rid of him because the 7/6 is just annoying. Flame Tongue Totem gives each creature adjacent to it +2 attack, which is nice. And the Wind Fury Harpy is a 4/5, but it can attack twice a round. It's susceptible to silence, though, and it is a bullet magnet. I think it's down to these 2. I don't have a lot of 2 costs, so I'm going to grab the totem. So let's see. Oh, well, this is easy. The Alarmabot, as I still don't have anything really major that would be a great late game play, and the Mind Control Tech, which I'm still not particularly convinced is a good card, but the Knife Juggler is fantastic. Every time I summon a minion, he deals 1 damage to a random enemy. And then on top of that, he's a 3/2, so even if he gets silenced, he can still get in there and just wade in. I have another silence. I think I'm going to go with that, but the Fairy Dragon's back, which is, again, still a good card. And Rockbiter Weapon, which gives a friendly character +3 until the end of the turn, which I can actually use that on myself as well. But I think I'm going to take the Earthshock because I just like the silence and the damage, especially with that genie floating around. So let's see, what do we got? We got the Lightning Storm again, the Cold Light Seer, which boosts all other Murlocs in play, and I don't have any Murlocs at this point. And the Mana Tide Totem, which is a card every round. I think it's going to be Lightning Storm because it hits every one of my every minion on my opponent's side of the table. And I think that's going to be a lot more useful right now. So let's see. So here we got a 3/3 Taunting Bear, which I might go for because I don't think I have a lot of taunt in this deck. And taunt is actually a pretty good thing to have. Yeah, with the exception of the Feral Spirit and the Lord of the Arena, I don't have a lot of taunt. The Cult Master, every time one of my other cards dies, I get to draw a card. And the Silver Moon Guardian's a 3/3 with a Divine Shield. Divine Shield means they take one hit that they completely ignore before they can actually take damage. But I think I'm going to take the Iron Fur Grizzly. I'm getting kind of high in the beginning. I got 9 cards left to go, and I need some later game stuff. And I have the Core Hound, but he's a 9/5, and the 5 is kind of easy to get rid of. If I could give him charge or something to keep him around, he's great, but otherwise he's not normally that good. The Youthful Brewmaster, where you put him in play and you put a card back in you put a friendly minion back in your hand, is really great for healing something, or saving something that's about to die, or if you've got a lot of stuff with battle cry effects, that's really good. I don't really have a lot of battle cry effects, so I think I'm actually going to take the Razorfin Hunter and get the second Boar, which is, I think, a really good card here. We've got Forked Lightning, 2 damage to 2 random enemies. The Unbound Elemental, who's a 2/4, but every time I play a card with Overload, he gets +1/+1. And I don't... Let's see, I've got 1, 2... 3, 4... only got 4, which means he's not particularly useful. The Flame Tongue Totem, which I've already got one, and a Forked Lightning. I think I'm going to take the Forked Lightning here. Well, let's see. Well, there we go. Big stuff. I wanted big stuff. The Fire Elemental is a great card. 6/5. And when it comes into play, it does 3 points of damage to something random. And it's a high-end creature, which makes it good for late games and getting rid of stuff. The Spellbreaker is a silence minion, but I've already had 3 Earth Shocks, so I think I can kind of skip that, I think. And the Stormwind Champion gives every other minion I have on the board +1/+1, which is really good if I have a lot of stuff. And I'm kind of shooting that way with a lot of cards that produce multiple minions, but I think I want something that hits really hard right now. So I'm going to take that Fire Elemental. So let's see, what do we got here? We got the Archmage again. And we've got the Thrallmar Farseer, who is a 3-cost Wind Fury creature with 2/3, which is kind of useful. The Raging Worgen's a 3/3, and if I can do 1 point of damage to him, he gets Wind Fury and +1 attack. And I think I'm going to grab him. They're both 3 costs, and people tend to spend the same amount of effort trying to get rid of them, but this one, if they can only sort of wound him, he can be pretty vicious. Let's see. Well, I get to give all my totems +2 health again. All adjacent minions gain +2 attack. But a Harvest Golem. When a Harvest Golem dies, it's a 2/3, but when it dies, it summons a 2/1 Golem, which, if I have the Knife Juggler out, can be particularly vicious. So I'm going to grab him. Oh, here's that Ancestral Healing, which would go great with the Ancient Watcher. I mean, admittedly, it's a 2-card combination, but I've also got 3 Earth Shocks. And it's a lot of other cards that it'll really go well with the Lord of the Arenas, some of the higher end guys, so I think I'm going to grab it. Let's see. Well, I don't have a lot of 4-cost, and he gives a minion +2 attack, and he's a 4/4, which is nice, but she summons a 2/1 Mechanical Dragon Lane, and since it looks like I'm kind of going towards a Swarm deck, I'm going to grab her. Let's see. Priestess of the Loon comes into play as a 5/4 and restores health to my hero, which she's the reverse of a Chillwind Yeti, but she costs 2 more. The Mad Bomber is fun and interesting, but he has just as much a chance. He deals 3 damage randomly split between every minion and player in the game, so I've actually seen him come into the field and hit the person who summoned him 3 times. The Leper Gnome is a guaranteed 2 damage to my opponent. When he dies, he just deals 2 damage to my opponent. And he's a 2/1 1-cost creature. If I get him out early, he's just well worth running around like a crazy person. And the last card of the game is the Violet Teacher. Whenever you cast a spell, summon a 1/1 Violet Apprentice, which is kind of nice. I do have a lot of spells that would make that really useful. Ancestral Spirit, choose a minion. When it is destroyed, return it to the battlefield, which could be pretty impressive with some of my late game stuff. Throw that out there and just let them die and come back. But I think I've been avoiding it up to this point. I don't think I have one. No, I don't have one. I'm going to grab the Manatide Totem. I don't have a lot of card draw. And I have a lot of low-cost stuff, so I'm going to be going through my hand pretty fast. And the ability to draw cards would be really nice. Well, that was 20 minutes. I'm going to play one game really fast, and we're going to see how that goes. And then I'll maybe put together a second video later on. So here we go. So it's going to find me somebody else who's at a similar record to mine, which currently is 0 wins, 0 losses. And the more wins you get, the better your prize pool. You play this deck in the arena, I will play it until I either win 9 games or lose 3. And once either one of those two conditions happen, I go to a screen where I get to draw my prize out and see what occurs from it. So let's see how this is working. This is taking a while. This keeps up. I may end the video here. And, oh, nope, never mind. So here we go. We're going up against David. And he is playing a rogue. Rogues currently are kind of considered the best class to take into the arena because they're a little bit overpowered. But let's see what I've got. I think the Hex is okay for later game. I don't want the Forked Lightning because I can't do anything on turn 2. And Earth, I think I'll keep the Earth Shot because I've got 3 of them. So, and the Manatide Totem, because getting that out and drawing cards as soon as possible will be great fun. So let's see what we got. Well, there we go. And I'm going to go second, which means I'm going to get the coin. That could be pretty interesting. So let's see. I'm going to coin and throw him out. And so he's 4/5, and he can't attack. But next round I can silence him, and he'll take a point of damage from it, but it'll be a 4/4, and I can rampage across the fields with him. Or my opponent will do a point of damage to him. And let's see how this works. Ooh, and she's going to backstab him down to 2. Interesting. She is throwing a lot of cards at this guy. Let's do this instead. I was gonna give him silence so he could attack, but she's beat him up, so let's heal him back to 4 and give him taunt, so now I have a 4/5 wall. Summon a Wrath of Air Totem and end my turn. So the Wrath of Air Totem, which is the random totem I summon, gives me +1 spell power. So my lightning bolt now does, or my silence now does 2 points of damage instead of 1, which can be really useful. What's really funny about this is she could silence it to get rid of the taunt, but now then I have a 4/5 creature that can attack. So she kind of has to kill it. Because she's either making it really vicious or she's keeping it really vicious. Okay, she's throwing on a sword. She's doing 2 points to him, or no, just 1 point. That's right. She has a combo still there, so that didn't work for her. So let's see, 3 mana. I could throw this out. Summon another totem. She's going to kill this next round and take another 4 points of damage, or use one of her cards to do it. I can drop this and start card draw right away. I think I'm going to throw out the Razorfin Hunter, which will get me 2 creatures. I won't be able to attack this round, but it gives me a good swing with my hand, I think. Play with it. Catapult her. We're out here in Agramar, so that's nice. So she hits there. That's pretty good. So at the beginning of my turn, let's see, what can I do? I can can do this. I'll throw off the mana totem. That'll give me a card at the end of the turn. I will silence. The snake's really brutal because whatever it hits, it kills. It doesn't matter if it's got enough damage or not. I'll use my silence to drop it to a 2/1 and turn off its ability. But then I'll hit it with the boar just to get rid of it completely. And then I will run my character up into her for my hunter and do 2 points there. I keep saying her because Valeria, the rogue, is a female character, but I guess the name David kind of belays that. Oh, and he's going to silence my totem. You fiend. That's one of the nicest things about the owl. It's a 2/1 that silences just everything. So let's see, what can I do? Oh, I can throw him. And I can throw... Do I want to throw her? I've got a card advantage right now. I think I'm going to just play another totem. See what I get. Ooh! And that. I get that. That's awesome. So... let's see, he's going to have to hit that, and then he's got that to go. I've got enough stuff coming up. I think I want to just get rid of that right now. And here we go.
Thanks. For the crusade!
Well played.
Okay, so she's got the 3/1. That's pretty vicious. Silence the taunt. Oh, nope, she's going to silence my guy. That's a much better choice. I was really surprised she was considering silencing that. So, she gets rid of that. She's going to play blood, which is nice. That's a nice play for that. I'm going to get Earth Shock. Which, let's see. Play the mana.
Taste the mana.
I summon a totem, which is an okay totem for me to get. Let's see. I'm going to silence her. Which is great. The silence turns off the shield, and then it does 2 damage. So, because it does it in that order, I get to do some interesting stuff there. I will kill an arrow and end my turn. And my healing totem heals all of my stuff for 1 point, taking him back up to 2. The owl can still kill him, though.
Squire, attend me.
Ready, sir.
Well, that was... and my opponent concedes. So I win! Hooray for me. Whew. Well, that is the first game of my arena. I will save this off, and my key is improved. I'm now a level 1 key. I was a wooden key, now I think I'm copper. So that's it for this one. I will pull this off and then load up a second video to show more of this arena and how this deck goes. And the next time it'll be maybe a couple games, since this one was mostly putting the deck together. So once again, I am Steve Mayne, and I am a Renaissance gamer. So thanks for watching, and please leave a comment below. Like it if you liked it. If you didn't, if you want to give me a thumbs down, that's great, but please leave a comment to tell me what I could have done differently. I'd really like to know. So thanks a lot.